I can't wait for this fucking episode to come out, and it's literally just me saying the word skibbity toilet, and that's it. The theming and point of this show is for it to be bad. Actually, it's bad on purpose, and that makes it good. Uh, Not unlike 5.5, which I'm sure is bad on purpose because I don't know how someone could design something this bad on accident. So let's start with the first class that I took notes on. I think it's the first one they showed off, but I don't know. It's just the order the fucking notes are in. The fighter. So I talked about how the only good thing to come out of 5.5 was the way that rogues can use their sneak attack dice for other effects, and that kind of choice making on the fly using a resource, so you're having some version of risk reward at play, some sort of decision making at play, and all that is good. It actually makes the game a lot more interesting overall. So fighter has a bad version of that. So that's cool. so so the fighter early on gets tactical mind. Basically, the idea of this is they can use their second wind charges for other effects. Tactical mind is they can use it to, I believe, add to a saving throw, which is instead of you healing your one hit die plus whatever, who gives a shit, which second wind's actually really good. But instead of that, you can use that second wind to add a d10 to your saving throw, your failed saving throw, I should say. That I think is actually not half bad. The thing that I think is bad about it is that if you still fail the saving throw, the second wind charge is not used. I don't like fake choices. I call things fake choices. I say fake choices when I mean technically you have a choice, but one of the choices is dumb. I don't think this is egregious, but I don't think this is great because, frankly, unless you are on the verge of death, in what scenario is it better to use your second wind now for health or save it for a saving throw, considering there is literally no downside to using it above a saving throw? Like, there's no risk reward there because the reward is you succeed a saving throw, which usually can mean the difference between life and death. The downside is fucking nothing because if you fail, congrats, nothing happens. I like the idea of it. I'd rather add the d10 to my saving throw to not get hit by a fireball or something. I don't like the implementation of it. There's a good possibility that some playing happens and I dick around with it and I realize, honestly, it's a fair trade. It's good. But as of right now, my immediate reaction is I don't like it. I don't like the implementation. I think it's too good. I think it's better than second wind normally in a way that makes it not great. Again, statistically, I could end up being wrong, but that's what it genuinely feels like is I would rather use it for tactical mind every single fucking time. So I will say in general, one of my big complaints with the fighter is, you know how in this role-playing game that we play, you roll dice, and sometimes it doesn't work out in your favor, and sometimes it does? And that's like the core idea of like the game. So fighter seems to be changed and built around not interacting with that. Um I genuinely feel like it's built to negate the possibility of bad rolls. In particular, gets the champion hero gets a couple things that give them extra rerolls, that gives them better chances to hit. Not to mention the fucking god awful epic boon that I hate with every fiber of my being. That are just things to try to make it, hey, you know how you roll to make attacks? What if you just always had unbelievably good rolls and could bypass the act of rolling? That'd be cool, right? And it isn't. Yep. Yeah. One of your attacks a turn. If you miss, just fucking re-roll it. Who gives a shit? And the rules are specifically written in a way in which if you have advantage, heroic inspiration is still usable on top of that. I've never seen someone rule it otherwise in 5th edition, but technically, rules as written, if you have the inspiration that gives you advantage, if you're playing it that way, 5e doesn't actually let you stack advantages. Um, but heroic inspiration in 5.5 absolutely does. Oh, and if anyone's new to this and somehow didn't watch the first episode, um, I'm referring to D&D 2024, whatever the fuck it is, as 5.5 because that's what it is, and I'll fight you. Not if you argue with it. I'll fight you no matter what, just for fun. Honestly, it'll be a pastime. On the tactical thing to use your second wind for other shit, I'm actually going to give a mild bit of praise because Tactical Master was added in. And this is same idea. You can burn one of your second winds, and it gives you half of your movement that does not provoke opportunity attacks. I think it's a bonus action to do so. Yeah, like whereas I think that Tactical Mind is too good and makes it kind of a bad decision, I actually think Tactical Shift, the movement one, is actually a neat idea. I'm down with Tactical Shift. Indomitable has been changed. It's the one that lets you not fuck up saving throws, just like the other thing that lets you not fuck up saving throws. But this time, you add your fighter level to the saving throw. It's fucking ridiculous. That's my thing is it's like it's not even like a reroll or anything like that. It's just like, oh, you're a level 10 fighter? Yeah, throw fucking 10 on it. Who gives a shit? Like that's fighters just the way to play a fighter is you play a champion fighter and you just never touch the D20. Just don't. It's fucking useless. Um Tactical Master. Let me look up exactly what the wording is on it because I just have my note here. Tactical Master invalidates the weapon mastery choice. Oh, no, I remember what it is. So it just says you can, whenever you make an attack, swap out whatever your current weapon mastery is with push, sap, or slow. So yet again, they have created this system that encourages weapon swapping and then said, but actually, if you could do me a favor and just not, that'd be cool. I don't get it. I don't get how they could come up with 90% of a good idea with the fucking weapon swapping encouraged and weapon choices encouraged by the weapon mastery system and then fumble it so hard at every single point. So, I want to clarify. It looks like a lot of the fighter is built around the idea that, and I said this last episode, it feels like because this is so marketing heavy, because this is so built to just address problems that people have with shit, it's built to avoid all of the feel bads, but it does so in the laziest way possible, is my answer on that. And I think that the fighter is a really, really great example of that. Because when you're a martial class and all you do is swing the sword, when sword miss, it feels like shit. It really, really does. When you just get that night of just only bad rolls, and you're like, okay, I might as well not be a part of the party. That it feels like shit. It super does. But their answer to that was, what if you just didn't actually have to interact with the system of rolling to hit? And I will say that of all of the options they have, studied attack is my favorite. I think it's incredibly mediocre. Like, it's fine, but it's the best of the options they implemented. The idea of going, oh, hey, you got the feel bad. Here is something to immediately make up for it. That's cool with me. Honestly, good job, studied attacks. You get a fucking B minus. But it gets you the grade. That's all you can ask for. Finally, the fucking epic boon on fighter. I'm going to complain about all of the epic boons. I want to clarify. I will bitch about every single epic boon. So, Epic boons at level 19, instead of getting an ability or something, you get to choose a feat. And you get access to the epic boons, which are a bunch of feats that are just fucking super absurdly strong. Now, to clarify, once you hit level 19, the game is already no longer fun, so these don't matter that much, but I wish they weren't boring as shit. So you can choose whatever epic boon you want. There is one that is recommended in each of these class deep dives. The fighter one, now I want to clarify, all of them are passives. Passives tell you to not interact with the game. Passives tell you, hey, we'll play the game for you as long as you can remember the list of bullshit that happens every time you attack. And I think the fighter is the worst one. All of them have the increase a particular ability score by 1 to a maximum of 30. So that is a given on all of them. The fighter one, Boon of the Combat Prowess, is whenever you miss an attack roll, you can hit again. Once you use the ability, you can't use it again until the start of your next turn. I rolled. I had advantage, so I rolled. I used my 1 free heroic inspiration per turn. I rolled, and I fucked up on all 3 rolls. Just fucking choose to hit. It's fine. And remember, next turn, as long as you have advantage, you get all 3 of those rolls and the choice to just hit again. What the fuck is the point of the D20? If you are playing a 5.5 fighter, especially a champion fighter, throw your fucking D20 in the trash. Because you're not going to use it. So I would say this is a complaint, and I think we're going to get into this further when we talk about the wizard, the shit zerd, if you will. Patent pending. So my issue, I was going to say my issue with 5th edition and 5.5 in return. But then I realized that the entire point of this show is that I have a million issues with these systems. One of my issues is that levels 1 through 3 fucking suck. One, you really get used to the system and play it a lot. Levels 1 through 5 are boring at best, kind of suck. And everything 15 and above is terrible and horribly balanced. Which means in a game in which you go from level 1 to level 20, half of those levels aren't good, aren't fun. Yes, if you're using a bunch of homebrew and homebrew monsters and shit like that, the high level shit can be interesting. Fun, I would still debate. Interesting, I will take. Low level shit can't be made fun. It's just bad. I'm excited for the second season, if you will, the second chapter. I'm going to use chapters instead of seasons because I'm pretentious. Because I think it's going to get a lot more interesting. But you have to get through the first chapter to get there, and the first chapter is pretty damn good as is. So I advise you listen to that, and then continue listening, and then give us your fucking money. So yeah, that's the fighter. I genuinely think that my issue with the fighter isn't that I think that it's worse. I don't necessarily think it's worse. In fact, if anything, the simple addition of weapon mastery makes it, I guess, better. And that's I guess is holding a lot of fucking weight there. I just think it's lazy. I think it's super fucking lazy. It's the class that chooses not to roll the D20. And that sucks. This one will take a while. It's the Paladin. Alright, so the Paladin. I think the idea of limiting your smites per turn so that you can only smite once per turn is interesting. Yep. Yeah, smiting is a bonus action. Like, using the spell smite to augment your attack is a bonus action. So you can only smite once each turn instead of before where it was just something you would tack onto your main attack. I think that's interesting. I don't think it's terrible. Honestly, smite's already fucking hilarious. Like, it's so good. So that's interesting. And then my other note is the boon of true sight is a passive. Ew. Yeah, so I don't get it. I wonder if it's well no, because it wouldn't be a low level thing. It wouldn't be a the paladin is just better at low level and that feels bad. Because you're not getting multiple attacks a turn level fucking 2 anyway. So honestly, I have no idea. Like maybe it's to limit you smiting and healing in one turn, but if you're playing a paladin, you want to smite and heal in one turn. That's the fantasy of playing a fucking paladin is you're the guy who hits someone in the dick with the power of God really fucking hard and then you heal your buddy cuz you're actually a nice guy. Yeah. I I don't like the limiting smites per turn, but I actually don't think it's that huge of a change. I don't know. Um so, yes, so the epic boon of true sight. Bro, fucking imagine. You're playing a paladin, it's your first time playing the game, and you're watching the wizard get ninth level spells. You're watching the wizard can't cast fucking wish. And you're like, I hit level 19. What do I get? And the DM's like, True Sight. You're like, yeah, True Sight's really cool. You're like, you do that always. And it's like, yeah, that's cool, but like the wizard can just cast wish. The fighter hits people in the face 17 times and literally can't miss. I have a joke. I have an entire bit about clerics and paladins versus wizards that I'm saving for whenever the wizard time is. And it's yeah, cuz it's fucking dumb. I hate it. Fuck, man. I hate it. This might shock you, but I don't like it. All right, so that was literally it. Those were all. I have 2 lines of notes on the paladin, and it's I don't like the limiting smites per turn, and the fucking boon of true sight is it's garbage. Like genuinely just fucking trash. It's also trash for your DM. Oh, I've made this enemy invisible. Oh wait, that's right. The fucking paladin can see them always. It's magical dark. No, they can still just fucking see them. Literally always. Way to just remove stat blocks. As the paladin, did you already hate having to be responsible for being the goody two shoes at all times? Well, guess what? We've added a new task on. You're also the lookout now. Congrats. At that point, you're not actually giving them an ability, you're giving them a chore. Bro, playing a paladin must fucking suck. Fuck paladins. All right, Barbarian. First note. Path of the World Tree is the new Barbarian path. It seems kind of cool. Actually, I'm gonna be honest. There's a positive there. I have in my note that it might be neat. It is battlefield manipulation. It can rearrange where people are, rearrange where you are on the battlefield. It seems to get some sort of like blink effect that's like a short range teleport. Um, so like that's neat. There you go. There's my positive. Okay, now for the bad stuff. And boy, it's fucking terrible. I think the class that got the worst treatment as far as just making it like genuinely garbage is the barbarian. Have you heard about primal knowledge? So on the topic of feel bads going away in a really garbage way. Primal knowledge lets you add a modifier or something along those lines. I've already forgotten exactly what the buff is, but it gives you a buff while raging to your intimidation. Makes perfect sense. Super cool. Acrobatics, weird choice, but justifiable. I like it. Perception, stealth, and survival. Perception, stealth, and survival. While you rage. In what universe do you see it as a good thing where the DM says the guy's really far away, you can barely see him? It's the fucking dude on the hill in Lost Mine of Phandelver. The dude on horseback on the hill. And it's a perception check to see what you can tell about. And everyone rolls and they don't do well. And the barbarian goes, I roll. It's only a 8. The DM goes, you can't quite see him. And he goes, here, let me try again. That's a 17. That's stupid. That is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. I'm so fucking mad I can see into the 4th dimension. That is bullshit. That is such bullshit. That is so stupid. Stealth? You're just stealthing angrily? That's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. I will 100%, 1000% support primal knowledge if you play stealth checks while raging as being passive aggressive. I stealth around the enemy. Okay, I make my roll. Oh, they saw you. I would like to rage while I stealth. Oh, as you walk around, you say, good job seeing me. I'm sure you're very proud. Frankly, I'm sure your mother's proud of the way you noticed me while I stealthed. He turns his head away from you bashfully, embarrassed of his station, frankly. Fuck primal knowledge. Stealthing is crazy. Perception is... I think perception is incredibly stupid. Stealthing is ridiculous. Survival is dumb, but fine. I'm sure there's... You fucking are so mad that you grab a squirrel out of a tree and eat its fucking head in one bite. Congrats, you've survived well. There is a clear issue that the barbarian in 5e doesn't do anything when outside of combat other than lumber around like a moron. They're comedic relief at best, and that's if your barbarian is a funny person. This is the wrong way to solve that problem. This is absolutely the fucking dumbest way to solve that problem. Next point, brutal strike. So it replaces brutal critical if you've played a 5e barbarian. Which, by the way, I want to clarify. In all of the articles, they never call it 5th edition. They call it 2014. So basically, brutal strike is whenever you would have, I believe, advantage. Yeah. Whenever you would have advantage, you can forego that advantage for a secondary effect. Forceful blow, for example, is a big ol' knockback. And you can even move up to them after you knock them back, which is neat. Hamstring blow is a slow effect. I realize a lot of these are kind of negated by weapon mastery. I didn't even think of that until now. Weapon mastery does like 30 or 66% to 75% of what these fucking abilities do, which is silly. But the idea of foregoing advantage to do something else instead is fine. That's all right. You have a system that lets you make decisions. That's cool. It's only when you have advantage, so that's meh. But I mean, and also it's literally all the same effects as just a marginally buffed version of weapon mastery, which as a martial class you get. So that's fine. It's all right. I'm not against it, but I also think that it's kind of fucking boring. Persistent rage is a great way to not have to do resource management, so that's cool. And by cool, I mean bad. So persistent rage is you get a use of rage back every time you short rest. Let's see, what level do you get persistent rage at? Unless you are doing a really, really long dungeon crawl, fucking persistent rage is terrible. Just rage always. If you somehow run out of rages, short rest, and you're good. It's literally just like, you know how decision making is tough sometimes? Don't do it. Don't. So, this also, I want to clarify this. You know coffee locks? You know how coffee locks are like a fucking cancer to the game sometimes? I want to clarify. The coffee lock has absolute justification. I'm actually not against the coffee lock on their own because no one else can really build that way. But in this edition, everyone can build that way. And the problem with it is that all of them restore one use of whatever resource is relevant in the conversation. Which means, hey, dungeon masters, get ready. Because every time you finish a fight or two, your players are going to ask, can I short rest? And you will say, yeah, you're in a safe spot to short rest. You know, like a good dungeon master. And they'll say, okay, we short rest. And you'll say, okay, cool, your short rest is done. Let's proceed. And they go, hey, can we short rest again? That's creating an uncomfortable scenario with the DM versus their players. That's creating an adversarial relationship between the DM and their players. And that's bad. That sucks. And it's the system that's doing it. It's not the player. Well, it's the player to an extent, but the system is enabling the player. It's not even like a weird random like fucking peasant railgun in 3.5. It's not even shit like that. Peasant railgun in 3.5 is the dumbest thing, and if you ask to do it, you are severely misunderstanding how games work. But also it's funny as shit. So that's the thing is like the game is actively enabling in this, and it's not even a weird niche thing. It's like really obvious. So that sucks. And also, if I may, the epic boon recommended for the Barbarian. The boon of irresistible offense. I will actually say this is one of the few boons that feels good to use. It is still a passive, but it feels good. This is, I think, my favorite of the epic boons so far that are recommended in these articles. It is the increase ability score, blah, blah, blah. You also get the ability to overcome resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. Finally, whenever you roll a 20 on the die for an attack roll, you get to deal damage equal to the ability score you used to make the attack. Not the modifier, the ability score itself. So, people can't have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing when you're fighting them with this. And if you roll a crit, you get all of the normal things you get on crit. And, I mean, you're going to be using strength, honestly. Plus 20, if not more, just damage added to your roll. It's passive. You don't actually make any decisions. Those things are unfortunate. But at least this one feels great because when you get that crit that deals like fucking 50 damage with one attack, that feels good. That's cool. I think it's still bad. I think it's still boring. But at least it's boring in a way that like is exciting when it triggers. Audience, fuckwits. Sorry, I'm supposed to like you people. Nice people who might like. Sorry, as tradition, I have to finish this before I end the episode. As tradition that I established now. Fuck yeah! I hope, audience, if you had a flagon of grog with you, you finished it as well, as is tradition. I think we're gonna wrap up for now. Next time we will talk about, I don't know, we'll probably at this point wait until all the other classes are revealed so I can like bitch about all of them in one go. Save for the wizard episode. I have never been more mad, and I will never be more mad. Paladin suck bad. Wizards of the Coast eat ass. Not in the good way.